Okay. Thank you. We will now call to order the Norwalk WPCA meeting of Monday, April 18th at 5:30. Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
By Mr. Igneri, all in favor, please raise your hand. I'll
Aye.
pull it off.
Aye.
Ostafine, Bovee, Keegan, Igneri, Mr. Mayor, thank you. That's unanimous. I guess we have to get off now, and I'll see you in executive session. I hope.
I don't think they're gonna be very long, Matt. Hang tight.
No, I don't think so.
I'm gonna get something to drink though. I'll be right back.
Right.
Okay, it is 5:44 PM. We resume the normal WPCA meeting. We've just left executive session. No motions or action were taken. And we go on to item number 3. Is there a motion to act on furthering or finalizing the consent order?
So moved.
By Mr. Igneri. Is there any further comment or public commentary?
At this time.
Questions, comments, nothing. Okay, I'm gonna call a question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that's Ostafine, Igneri, Mr. Mayor, Bovee, Keegan. That's unanimous. Thank you. So is there a motion to item number 4, approve the meeting minutes from the WPCA meeting held on March 21st, 2022?
I'll move that.
By Mr. Igneri. Any comments, corrections? No?
None?
Daleen?
Yeah,
I just had a few small typos. Item number 8. And increase. So I think we got an extra in there. Item number 11, and the title of it says authorize he chief. It should be the chief, I think. That's all I got. Anybody else? No. Nobody's saying anything. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Ostafine, Igneri, Mr. Mayor?
I'll abstain.
Mr. Mayor's abstaining. Mr. Keegan is a yes. Mr. Bovee?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. It passes with 4 with Mr. Mayor abstaining. Item number 5, that's it. We're done with business. I guess Mr. Camacho didn't make it back, but he's definitely free for his meeting now. So item number 5, contract operation reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everybody. I'll be fairly brief, but I do have a few things to go over. We were fortunately, we were able to reduce our COVID operational severity level to level 1. So that gets us back to full access to visitors and guests and subcontractors, as well as being open to school tours and other visitors. So we're excited to have the facility back open. We are still following some precautions and being careful, but business, that's great. Collection team was quite, although there was a minimal amount of TV inspection, they focused a lot of attention on SL-RAT, did over 5.5 miles of SL-RAT acoustic inspection. That included over 210 manholes that they did over the course of the month. Some other good news is the IPP inspection program resumed in March, and we completed 37 inspections during the month. Facility was in compliance with all permit limits for the month of March, and the nitrogen performance was excellent. It was at 515 pounds per day, and that lowered the 2022 annual average down to 582 pounds per day. Other items that we're currently working on, the sludge blend tank rehabilitation. We have finalized the selection of a structural engineer to develop a work plan to repair that sludge blend tank. And once we get that work plan from the engineer, we'll be able to utilize one of several contractors that will bid to do the improvements. We also received our final okay from Metro North on the Orchard Street Sanitary Sewer Improvement Lining Project. So we'll be putting the final pieces of that together now and scheduling that. We should have a firm date in the next few weeks on that project. Bell Island Pump Station project we continue to work on. We have a new pump that we purchased. We completed the testing on the emergency generator. The repairs and overhaul to FST number 3 have been completed. And we've completed electrical system repairs to the plant water system, which should allow it to be seen on the SCADA system. Another interesting note that will be in next month's report, Ralph may speak to it a little bit, is we had an exciting project that we did in the last few weeks. And Mr. Mayor, you might be interested in this because we talked about it a long time ago. We flew a drone through our 60-inch sewer main last week. And it was pretty interesting. We got some excellent footage, and we actually discovered a couple of interesting things in that pipe as well. So that was a big event. We'll have some more details on that next month's event. Ralph may have a little bit more later. So that's all I have for tonight. If anyone has any questions, as always, happy to answer them, or you can reach out to me at any time.
I just have one question. What are the chances that drone goes into the water?
100%.
Oh, it did go into the water. It's made for that.
Yeah. The technology is emerging. Let's put it that way. All right.
Oh, okay.
It's still not water resistant. I mean, it still relies on downward propulsion, right? So it's blowing air into the water in a circular pipe, which is causing the water to come back up into the top of it.
But it actually was flying through the pipe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And like I said, we've got some great video that we'll get put together for you so you can see it on the screen here next time we get together.
Any other questions for Mr. Marcin? Okay, Ralph, number 6.
Right. We'll go into reports, everybody. Item A is the Munis monthly report. It's included in the board package if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to go right into discussion of WPCA projects. Collection system master planning. This includes, we've had multiple meetings on our hydraulic model and continue to calibrate the model. This is all part of updating the collection system master plan. We got to have the model. The model is going to tell us where pipes, if there's any defects or any hydraulic concerns during extreme wet weather, what areas to focus on, and to do a little bit more additional field work or identify long-term projects. So all that information is going to be put into the collection system master plan update, and that report will be due later this year, early fall. Item 2, collection sanitary sewer system rehab, various locations. This is with Green Mountain. Currently, they're not in town for a couple weeks. We're just waiting for them to give us a schedule in the next couple of weeks when they will be in town. And I would anticipate them being in town for 1 or 2 weeks, finishing up a lot of the punch list items. So we have some minor lining still to do. We have a manhole to be installed by their subcontractor on Seaview Avenue. And then once that's installed, some additional lining there. It's just trying to coordinate with them to make sure they have their crews in town for us. Item 3.
May I ask a question on item 2?
Absolutely.
The lining. You're doing it in a lot of locations, and I've had comments from people that live nearby that it has a strong odor. Have you gotten those as well?
We haven't got phone calls, but occasionally we will. And that is part of the lining process. And it does go away fairly quickly. What we ask is make sure folks run water in any sinks or pour water in a drain, like a floor drain, because as long as there's water in the trap, odors should be minimal. It's when if you have a basement sink or the washer, you may get some odors coming out of that trap. But for the most part, the other thing we recommend, we actually hand out a notice about odors. And if you do have some and you got questions, we have a phone number to call for actually the Green Mountain staff that's out there, along with the Veolia team and Jacobs. But basically, if odors are excessive, opening up windows will help clear out the odors fairly quickly.
It's not a dangerous odor. It's not a.
No, it's in small quantities. It may cause at most like a little cough if it's heavy in the house.
Okay.
But once you open up the windows, it dissipates quickly and should have no impact on the public.
The person I spoke to had the odor, noticed the odor while walking in the street.
Okay. Yes, because when we're lining, we're actually we're venting the steam out, so you actually see a column of steam coming from the curing process, and that does generate odors.
Yeah, last year we had a problem with the school, remember?
Yes,
But it turned out it was fine. Everybody was okay.
yes. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, Mr. Mayor, the chemical that's used to cure, it's I believe in this application is known as styrene. It's a compound. I believe it's an SVOC, which gives it that odor. But like Mr. Colbert pointed out correctly, when I've been here since my tenure in Norwalk and in White Plains, we get those complaints sometimes. And really, with just a small fan and opening the windows, it will just as quickly as you smell it, much like gasoline, it dissipates very quickly as well too. Now, I wouldn't lock yourself in a structure for 24 hours. Breathing the material incessantly, but for normal everyday uses for the curing process and for the lining process, when applied correctly by our contractor, you will smell. It's not uncommon to smell odors in the outside, like Mr. Cole said, from the curing, from the steam, or sometimes you can cure it with hot water as well. But it's not uncommon to encounter those odors outdoors and indoors. So in the quantities that we use it to the maximum extent practical to cure our liner. The quantities are not harmful.
I assumed that and said something similar. I was just checking that I was right.
Absolutely correct. But that smell is from a compound known as styrene.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm good.
Just to add, note, Brown and Caldwell's also have been working down in the Rowayton/Salmon Street sewer sheds.
Mhm.
What they're doing is we're going to be putting out a project later this year, a $3 to $4 million collection system rehab project, most of it will be lining. And, we'll coordinate with the appropriate neighborhoods, the HOA down in Bell Island to coordinate, especially with the big trucks. But we're just in the design phase and during our homework. But once we have the project ready to go out to bid, we'll engage the HOA. And like I said, typically when the contractor's out, we provide at least a 1 week notice and then 24-hour notices to the public to make them aware of what we're doing. And while we're curing, we always have multiple people there, either DPW, our consultant, and the contractor, being able to answer questions or provide assistance or guidance as needed.
Okay, we have a 6th taxing district website which blasts out news. If you want to take advantage of that, let us know. We'll just blast that out to the community.
Yep, we'll do.
Okay.
We'll talk more once we get a little bit closer to final design.
All right, good. Thank you.
Thank you. So Wall Street, 2 Knight Street, sanitary sewer relocation. Holzner is our contractor, and they just relocated a private water service, and that allows us to now start planning where our big chamber will go, where the sanitary sewer line needs to cut through the storm pipe. And what we're working with on them is the groundwater plan, groundwater dewatering plan, along with making sure that all the piles and everything that's proposed for this chamber meets the engineered specs. So that's what the engineer team is currently reviewing for that work. We've been working with the management group on that property, and it's been working very well. Every step of the way, we've been coordinating our activities with the managing company, John Ekman and company, and they're able to inform their tenants very quickly. So trying to reduce any impacts or surprises. Next item is Belden and Burnell Boulevard. We installed the gravity sewer. That's a Vidi company out of Stamford. We are in the process of doing final road restoration. So that's the work that's outstanding. Otherwise, everything is complete in that area. Item 5, pump station work. Kovacs Construction is our contractor. And not this past weekend, but the weekend before, we did a major bypass of the old trolleyway pump station on Saturday. And we were able to install a bypass piping and valves. So that way, when we take the station offline, we're able to bring in Godwin pumps, but tie in the discharge from the pumps into our force main, and then not have to run piping or anything on the road, along the road to discharge downstream into the gravity. So this was critical work. Originally, we were looking to do it during the week, but working with the community, specifically Bridgewater Properties next door to the pump station, we all agreed that Saturday was the best, and they helped us, they worked with us, and that was a successful job. So the other 3 pump stations right now is it's been quiet. The work has been at Old Trolleyway, the focus. Item 6, Bell Island pump station improvements. We authorized Kovacs go ahead and purchase a chamber for the bypass connection for that pump station. So that was just ordered, and it's just a matter of waiting for that to come in the next couple months. Item 7, at the treatment plant, Kovacs is doing our aeration tanks, electrical infrastructure improvements. And we actually have a walkthrough meeting later this week. What we're doing is all electrical work outside right now, and it's just going through the shop drawing submittal process with Arcadis is the consultant, Kovacs is the contractor. And then item 8, SCADA upgrade phase 3. There's about 15 items that remain on our project list with Aaron Associates and Arcadis. And we're basically going through those 15 items to finish whatever we need. Some of it requires some assistance from the Suez team, either with their personnel or bringing in a electrical contractor or somebody to provide additional assistance to Aaron Associates. But What we're trying to do right now is add processes, small processes at the treatment plant that is not currently on SCADA, but bring it into SCADA. So we may have to, for example, a couple of these wet wells for filtrate water that we're looking at. We're going to add new pressure transmitters, new electrical conduit, and then the programming will be completed by Aaron Associates. So the operators, everybody can see what's exactly happening with the wet well is in SCADA. Does anybody have any questions with the projects that we discussed? All right, moving along is sewer use bills and appeals adjustments to date is $183,467. And then the last item, information copies, is the approved fiscal year 22-23 sewer use fee public notice, including the board package.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on anything contained herein or otherwise? I think we're breaking a record here, 6:02 p.m. Who wants to volunteer for Mr. Flynn's position? Mr. Flynn was typically the person who entertained item number 7. Mr. Keegan? Mr. Keegan. Okay, let's give it to Keegan.
You can't,
It is 6:03. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'm just gonna call it. That's unanimous. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mr. Mayor, for joining us.
thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Have a good
everyone.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
Good
Mr.
night,
Chairman,
everyone.
Darlene, Ralph, and the board. Have a nice night.
Thank
Couldn't have done it
Do
without you.
it. Viola.
Next month.
Do you have a moment?